This whole door jamb was basically a disaster. So that's not good. All right, so we're officially mounted. I wanted to show you guys what I'm using this time around to mount these. I used riv nuts last time and I liked them all right, but I had a few spin on me and they're really hard to get out when they spin. So I wanted to try this. This is a well nut. Ton of traffic today. I don't know what's going on. This is a well nut. It's a rubber nut, and then I'm using an M5 screw. And when you screw it in, the well nut actually compresses onto the hole, and it's rubber, so it's a little bit less, less intense than the metal riv nuts. A little bit easier to get out if something fails. You can see here when you sandwich two pieces together between a bolt and one of these well nuts, the rubber actually compresses, and that's what holds the pieces together. It's really strong. It works really well. So far I'm a fan. This fender's on there. We're good to go. So I'm gonna go do the other side. Alright, so I don't remember the last time I filmed, but the car is in the shop now. I've been keeping updates on like Instagram stories and YouTube stories to just keep the guys that are really interested in this build updated on what's going on. So since I've last videoed, I've got like 18 hours or something in it. It's 12, 18, 16, maybe 20, I don't know, a lot of time. Basically getting it moving was a huge task in and of itself, and bigger than I thought it was going to be, but it's moving. It moves by itself, so that's good. Got a few more things to work out before I can actually take it down the street, but it moves on its own power, so that's a good sign. I sanded the whole thing, as you can see. Taped it all up. I did all that off camera because it's like, you know, it was a lot of work, and this car had not been body worked at all, so I hadn't really thought about that when I said I was going to get it painted this week. So anyway, so I body worked the whole thing and sanded it and got it ready. Been a lot of late nights, and now it is sanded. So I've blown the whole thing off with air, just compressed air to get most of the dust off, and I'm going to wipe it down with some degreaser, just some wax and grease remover. I use Shopline everything just because I feel like it's all made to work together. So Shopline degreaser over the whole thing, and then we're going to spray some 2K primer on it, also Shopline. So I'm going to prime the body. I'm going to paint the fenders separately. I think the color I got should match pretty easy, so I think I'm going to paint them in a different session. So I'll prime this, maybe roll it out and prime those, maybe leave it in here and just paint. I don't know, but we're going to prime it tonight either way. All right, that's just talking words. Time lapse. Okay, so the car is primed. It's been like 2 days since I did the primer. Everything went wrong while I was priming. All my guns messed up, which they're all crappy. I meant to get a new one and I forgot. So I had to use my nice like paint gun, which has a really small tip, and made this take forever. But I got enough primer on there, I think, for a good base. I'm going to sand over this whole thing with 400 grit, starting on the DA sander to get the big spots, and then I'll come back and hand sand the stuff that's a little bit harder or like on an edge or whatever. But the goal is to get it completely smooth. You also notice I've started taping, or I actually already taped everything inside the doors. It really bugs me when cars have door jambs that don't match the outside. With silver and white, it probably would have looked okay if I'd have taped like a clean line or whatever, but I figure I might as well paint it. So used way too much tape and way too much plastic and taped that up, so that's going to get painted as well. But before any of that, I've just got to sand the whole thing. So I'm going to sand it, I'll clean it all, and then I will paint it. I'm not doing the front bumper right now. I'm going to pull it off and paint it when I paint the wide body parts, which will be next. So hopefully that'll start happening tomorrow. Anyway, more sanding, more cleaning, then we can paint. Alright, so the car is completely blocked. I went over it by hand so I could kind of feel all the rough spots and get them smooth. So it's very, very smooth. I went ahead and sanded in the door jambs as well, and I degreased the entire thing. Now, I'll do that again before I paint. You can see where I'm painting is, well, it's barely a shop. So one of the things that makes paint jobs bad is actually just dust, and you can really limit it to almost none by cleaning the car really well with degreaser and wetting the floors. So before I actually paint in here, I'm going to wet the floors really well, and I'm going to go over the car with another coat of degreaser and a tack cloth. That's going to pull all the dust out of it. For the longest time, I couldn't get good paint jobs in places like, well, this, and I thought it was just because of the place I was painting, but it was actually because of how I was prepping the car. I wasn't cleaning it enough. I'm not very good at cleaning stuff, so I am having to teach myself, but one of the things I've been focusing on recently with the Miata, with the Jetta, with this car is cleaning them really, really well and making sure that there's no dust coming off of them when I wipe them with a rag. That will give you the best paint job possible, even in a place that's got spider webs everywhere. So I think it's going to come out really good. The bodywork feels decent. I'm going to have some places that I think I'm going to have to go throw some Bondo on tonight, let it cure overnight, and then sand it off tomorrow. Just some stuff I'm not super happy with, but overall the car is really, really solid. So I'm about to go to bed. I'm calling it a night early because I got to start early tonight, which is pretty cool. I'm going to throw some Bondo on, let it dry overnight, and then we'll block that down tomorrow. And this thing will be ready. I'm going to paint it tomorrow. So for you guys, that's like now. All right, so we're finally ready to paint. This is one of those things like, I've been working on the body kit so much, I totally forgot that the car needed to be bodyworked. So this has taken a little bit longer, like 3 days longer and way more hours than I thought it was going to take. But it's ready, and I'm going to start painting it. Basically, what I got to do now, I've already waxed and degreased the whole thing. I sanded those Bondo spots I was talking about. It was just those parts on the doors where there were some holes. I filled the holes with fiberglass, and then I bonded over them just to make them a little bit more smooth. And so I got those filled in, and I think we're good to paint now. What I'm going to do is do my base coat inside of my doors, I think all of it, and then close the doors, and then do the whole car on the outside. I think that's my plan. I'm only going to be able to base coat right now because I'm about to have to go to work. So I'll base coat, I'll go to work, and I'll come back, tack it off, and clear coat it. Hopefully it'll make a really good paint job, and it'll be clear and everything. We'll see, but I think it'll be all right. White's a pretty forgiving color in terms of like how much bad work it shows. So that's a plus. Anyway, I'm going to time lapse all of this so you guys can watch me tack it off and then spray this base coat. Let's do it. Okay, so the paint's done. I just finished spraying clear coat. That's why I've got my respirator on. It went pretty well. A lot of water issues, which is kind of par for the course for me, but it went all right. This is the first time I've done door jambs, and that part did not go all right, but I'll fix it later. Overall, I'm really pumped with it. I only did 2 coats of clear. I normally do 3, but I want to see how this 2 thing works out. I think it's going to work. It looks really smooth and clean, and it's just going to get flatter as it dries. I don't even know if y'all can hear me. Hopefully you can. Anyway, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go ahead and start untaping all the edges. What that does while the paint's still wet, it'll kind of roll the edge of the paint over, whereas if you let it dry and cure all the way, start ripping tape off, the paint's going to chip. So it's a little bit of a nerve-wracking thing, but I also really love this part. You start to see kind of what the car is going to look like. Alright guys, we are completely untaped. I think it looks great. Now is the moment that we've all been waiting for. We're going to roll this thing out in the sun. Some things for you guys to know, because it's the internet and I get it. Underneath where the fenders are going, I didn't focus a lot of paint because I didn't want to waste material. I don't really have enough money to get any more. So so you'll notice some inconsistencies like underneath where the fenders are. You may, I don't know. But if you see that, it's getting covered up, so don't worry about it. It's just there so that if you pull the fender off, there's not like a hard line around where the fenders were. Anyway, that's all of my excuses, if you want to call it excuses. I'm gonna roll this thing out. This is always a little bit of a nerve-wracking part. I was watching a B is for Bill the other day, and he said, and I quote, "The sun is very big." And so it's true. And so when you have a shop that's as dark as this one, which it's pretty dark, it looks sort of light in film, but in terms of painting, it's not very bright at all. We'll get more bulbs eventually. But you paint in there, and then you bring it out here, you really see if you did a good job. And so a lot of times you kind of have to rely on patterns. I have a car right here. Let me make sure you guys can't see it. The next Flip Friday car is like I'm touching it right now. It's right here. You guys will see it. It's just been sitting because I've been trying to get this thing done. So once this is done, we'll get back to the Flip Friday stuff. We'll do some more of that. Yeah, so let's find out if I mess anything up. Alright, it's white. We are going to stop the video right here. I've kind of got cut short because of time. I've got my bumper, my side skirts, fenders, spats, everything right here out of frame to be primed and painted. So that video will be coming shortly, but we're going to stop right here for this one. I think the paint job came out really great. The car's finally getting washed by the rain, so you guys are worried about it not being washed. There you go, it's happening. It's a really cool color. It really looks good in overcast days. It's like glowing right now, which is pretty awesome. And honestly, I think it kind of looks cool without the bumper. So, I mean, we're gonna run a bumper obviously, but that looks pretty rad. Anyway, hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you guys are as excited as I am about white paint. We're gonna be doing stickers. We're gonna be doing a full livery on this thing, and I cannot wait to get it done. But before that, I've got to get this stuff painted. So that's actually what I'm going to work on today. This video will be coming out very soon, so you guys can see what the fenders look like in white paint as well. So I'm going to do a quick walk around of the car in the rain. It'll be quick because it's raining and the rain is pretty cold today. But I'll show you guys the car, and I'll show you kind of some stuff that I'm going to have to fix. This whole door jamb was basically a disaster. So that's not good. But we'll fix it. Like I said, I'm gonna come back and touch up all the paint in the door jambs. This is my first time doing door jambs, so it was a pretty steep learning curve. Other than that, I'm in love with this thing. I would never paint a car white. Like, I like colors, I like complicated colors, I like metallics, all that fun stuff. So I would have never thought to paint this car white, but I really think it's gonna look super clean. And because the body kit is so crazy and outrageous, I think white's gonna actually be a really good color for it.